policing the police every single day, and doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. Andrew Sheets reported for COPWATCH for 8 years and now running for sheriff because I guess you got to change it from the inside. And this makes me sick, man. These fuckers are promoting the blue line of tyranny, corruption, and racism flag. This is literally like fucking Nazi Germany kind of SS shit, swastika shit. And everywhere across America, they're stopping to promote this flag because it's un-American. It's not a sign of a good thing. It's a sign of a bad thing. It's a sign of corruption. It's a sign of the blue line that you don't cross. If you do and you're a good guy, you will be crucified. This is insane. Stop the blue line of corruption and racism. End it now. This is un-American Nazi ass bullshit.
Well, our country has become so politically divided that face masks are a controversial issue. And now a symbol that some say stands for dedication and sacrifice of police officers is becoming controversial. So much so, it's been discouraged by the Boise Police Department.
We're talking about thin blue line flags, the flag that shows a thin blue strip in place of one of the American flag's 13 stripes. Many who fly it say it stands for police brotherhood and is not political, but others argue it's becoming associated too often with white nationalists. In a 2019 posting, the National Police Association said the thin blue line flag is not a symbol of racism, and they questioned why anyone would get offended by a flag supporting our nation's fallen law enforcement officers. In late June, former acting Boise Police Chief Ron Weiniger announced why he's discouraging officers from displaying it in public places.
Many of you have heard that an officer was recently asked to remove a blue line flag from his office in a school district building. This is true, and as much as it breaks my heart to make this decision at this time, when it seems like our morale is being bombarded at every turn, I believe it is the best decision based on all of the circumstances.
The cause for any divisiveness is what prompted Weiniger to make the decision.
We are attempting to navigate through some very difficult times related to race relations in this country, as well as relations with our school partners here in Boise. And when that symbol creates a problem or a barrier for our partners externally, we need to be responsive to their requests.
Again, that decision made before now Boise Police Chief Ryan Lee, before he took over BPD at the 1st of July. A spokesperson for Boise Police says the decision still stands. It has not been changed by Chief Lee.
Albuquerque police officer got in trouble for putting a sticker on their patrol car. Turns out officers are not supposed to have unique decals or license plates on their government-owned vehicles of any kind, but many of them do. News 13's Madeline Schmidt is live downtown at APD headquarters with the story. Madeline?
Yeah, well, Jessica, we looked into the department's policy about stickers, decals, and plates after a citizen complained about an American flag on an officer's car. But it wasn't an ordinary flag.
Identical uniforms, identical cars, but Albuquerque police officers are still individuals underneath those 27 pounds of Kevlar and equipment, and some try to show it.
They're not allowed to personalize the cars in any way.
According to standard operating procedures, officers can put decals and special front license plates on their cars, but only with the permission of the chief. However, department spokesman Gilbert Gallegos says that's really a bogus clause.
We want uniformity amongst police cars, just kind of neutral, and we don't want the chief to have to be deciding what kind of expression is appropriate and what's not.
Earlier this year, Gallegos says an officer had to remove a "Don't Tread on Me" license plate from their unit, a symbol that's been associated with the Tea Party.
That was an example where it was inappropriate and definitely could be offensive and was offensive to some people.
Then, a few months ago, a citizen complained to the Civilian Police Oversight Agency about an officer's pro-police decal, a thin blue line flag that the anonymous citizen said violates the U.S. flag code.
First off, I think this officer wasn't intending to, mean any disrespect toward anyone. Every officer I know deeply respects the flag and they're very proud of what it stands for. And
Still, the CPOA investigated, and the officer was ultimately told to remove it because it wasn't approved. Yet many APD cops do this. Just today, News 13 saw several vehicles with everything from U.S. Army Airborne and college alumni plates to thin blue line decals, flags, and plates.
So here's the catch. Gallego says the department is not actively looking for officers who are violating this policy. It's just not high enough of a priority to address, unless, of course, a citizen complains. Jessica, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Madeline. Gallego said while the department has no plans to revisit this specific policy, other policies regarding uniformity are getting a second look as of late, like facial hair and displaying tattoos.
And no thin blue line flags will fly from Elk Grove flagpoles that day.
The city says it will fly the American flag on Thursday. 2 years ago, some people were upset when Elk Grove flew the thin blue line flags for National Police Week. Critics saying that the flags mean to honor police officers. Well, they were confusing, with some calling them a violation of U.S. flag code. At the time, the city leaders said it would review whether the flags would be used again.
And today, Elk Grove said it was not refusing to fly the thin blue line flag out of fear of offending others. The city claims it chose to fly the American flag because it represents the highest form of honor and respect to Officer O'Sullivan.
Only on 2 tonight at 10 o'clock, it is seen as a symbol of support for law enforcement. A back the blue flag. But tonight, one man's attempts to fly it proudly landed him in an awkward situation at his job. He works at the DuPont site in LaPorte and says he was told to remove that flag from his truck. Channel 2's Jonathan Martinez is joining us live near the plant with reaction from both sides. Jonathan?
Yeah, Bill, you've probably spotted that familiar flag out in people's front yards. Oftentimes it is also in their vehicles. Such was the case for one of the plant workers out here at DuPont. But as you mentioned, we're told his supervisors actually asked him to take it down. For Eli Laurenden, proudly displaying the stars and stripes in black and blue on his truck is a symbol of support.
I got many police officers that are real close to my family, that we consider family, that we support. And this is the reason for our flags.
Which is why he was caught off guard when he recently went to work at the DuPont plant in LaPorte, as he's done for nearly 2 weeks with the flag on display, but this time was approached by supervisors.
They said, well, we were asked that DuPont security asked that if you would go remove it.
Shocked by the request, Laurenden then asked why he had to remove it.
The response was, you know, just in case, you know, we let you fly flags and everybody else wants to fly their flags, you know, we could eventually, you know, people come up here with rainbow flags or rebel flags such as that.
Laurenden says security claimed there was a company policy that prevented him from having the flag on display. We reached out to DuPont's corporate office to get clarification, who sent a statement reading in part, quote, DuPont does not have a corporate-wide policy on displaying flags or symbols. There is no policy at LaPorte that would have banned the gentleman from displaying the flag, and there was no company directive that he remove it.
It's a flag. It's just showing my support for the local police officers and all the police officers across the United States.
Laurenden isn't sure if someone complained or was offended by his back the blue flag. Either way, he says considering corporate appears to be okay with it, he'll keep bringing it.
It's my belief, my support. I'm going to continue to fly my flag.
And we did reach out to the local office here for DuPont to see if we can get a statement beyond that corporate statement, but so far they have not returned any of our calls, and we did place several of them. We are reporting live tonight from LaPorte. I'm Jonathan Martinez, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
I am sorry. I mean, the kid had no ill intent. I mean, it didn't mean to disparage the kid or his father. We understand, you know, this was a gesture on his part. If he had brought any other plaque there, any other symbol there, any other flag there, done anything to express what he was expressing, I would have had nothing but nice things to say about it. The police chief has said he's, you know, continuing to consider some final resolution. I'm not changing my decision to have them take it down. At that moment, it was the absolutely right thing to do. If you think about it as a thin blue line flag, then you see it one way, and the officers are saying they see this as a thin blue line flag. And nobody could possibly object to that. And then I'll point out that the fire department has a thin red line flag, and it's of no issue to me. The problem is that the symbol of the thin blue line flag has been appropriated by Blue Lives Matter, and that there are lots of groups in the community, people concerned about Black Lives Matter, people concerned about levels of violence against black people in this country, who take the Blue Lives Matter flag as an affront and as a flag that represents dismissiveness of Black Lives Matter and their concern over what's happening to black males in this country. In my perfect world, I would get Blue Lives Matter to design their own flag so they can have their very own flag and leave this other flag alone so it can be used for what it was intended for and nobody would misinterpret it. And if you followed Montgomery County over the last year, we've had a very controversial shooting. We've had the woman who gets filmed using language she shouldn't be using. We've got a police officer who is dropping somebody's head on the ground. And we've had a town hall where, many residents came out and expressed concern about police behavior. And my concern was that the flag, if it's interpreted by people as a Blue Lives Matter flag, it becomes something that just furthers distrust and unrest in the community. While it means something as a thin blue line flag to the officers, to people in the community, the question I was getting is, do you support Blue Lives Matter, and are you ignoring the concerns that we have about Black Lives Matter?
Controversy over a picture of murdered Davis police officer and the flag she honors before her death. It's a picture many in the nation have seen Officer Natalie Corona proudly waving a thin blue line flag to honor fallen law enforcement. But tonight, some groups say for them the flag holds a different meaning.
CBS 13's Angela Greenwood joins us live at the police department in Davis with more on this so-called controversy. Angela?
Sharon and Tony, some say that this flag is insensitive to people of color, but those who support it say that the meaning behind it is being twisted, and they say that in itself is another tragedy.
It was taken 2 years before she was sworn into law enforcement.
To say thank you to the men and women who served.
A thin blue line flag billowing in the background. Davis police officer Natalie Corona honoring those killed in the line of duty. And the picture now viral since the officer herself was tragically taken, shot and killed while doing her job.
The makeup of the thin blue line represents all of America. It represents white people, black people, Hispanic people.
But for some groups of people, the flag itself is a controversial one.
There are definitely racial undertones.
Tanya Faison with Black Lives Matter Sacramento says the thin blue line flag and Blue Lives Matter are a direct response and attack on the Black Lives Matter movement that works to give an oppressed population a voice.
I mean, people yell this at us and then in the same sentence call us thieves, call us criminals, call us leeches off the system, tell us to get jobs. So it's basically a new version of the Confederate flag.
This is reprehensible.
Randy Sutton is a retired law enforcement officer and calls the flag backlash, insulting, and devastating.
While police officers and families are mourning the death of this woman, put a bounty out on thin blue line flags.
Friday, in a since-deleted Facebook post, a student group at UC Davis stated the meaning behind the photo was racist and a trigger to black and brown people. And on Monday, Black Lives Matter Sacramento posted it was taking donations of Blue Lives Matter flags acquired on the streets, telling us later they wanted those flags for art.
People have chosen a side, and that's what's going on.
But others argue there should be no sides when it comes to a flag honoring a fallen officer.
Is almost beyond comprehension. It shows a complete lack of regard for humanity.
And we do know that another student group at UC Davis did come out criticizing the message of its peers. And we do have to say that regardless of how they feel about this flag, everyone we spoke with tonight agreed that the death of Officer Natalie Corona is a tragedy and say they send their sympathies to her family.
Yeah, timing is everything, Angela, and one might question the timing of this criticism. Thank you for that report from Davis tonight.
The town of York is embroiled in controversy over a flag. Good evening, I'm Pat Callahan.
And I'm Cindy Williams. The thin blue line American flag, which is meant to honor law enforcement officers and their families, was put up by a man who wanted to pay tribute to his father, who was shot and killed in the line of duty in 1964.
But there are some people in town who believe this flag is also racist. News Center's Shannon Moss joins us now to tell us more about a rather surprising story.
Pat and Cindy, the thin blue line American flag is a black and white American flag with a thin blue line running across the middle of it. For law enforcement officers, this flag is a symbol of solidarity. The blue line represents police officers standing together between chaos and order. The black lines are a constant reminder of fallen officers. But this week, the flag is at the center of a growing controversy in one Maine town.
This thin blue line American flag hangs from the home of York residents Steph and Charlie Black. For them, this flag symbolizes the service, solidarity, and sacrifice of law enforcement officers and their families. Steph's father was a Maine State Trooper. So is Charlie's father. But 55 years ago this month, Trooper Black was shot and killed in a bank robbery.
That was a really, really tough time for my mom. The family was changed forever.
When Charlie and Steph noticed an empty flag bracket on a utility pole in front of their house, they thought they would temporarily put up their flag to commemorate the difficult anniversary.
For me, it's a way to be close to his father and to just pay our respect.
It not only represents our family's loss, it represents all officers' loss.
But that's not what the flag means to everyone.
A resident came in and said there's a problem. This is a flag that represents segregation, discrimination.
Town manager Steve Burns says he received a call from a local advocacy group that wanted to meet with him after hearing similar concerns. He also learned a letter to the editor talking about the inappropriateness of the flag would be in the town paper. Burns called Charlie's mom, Mary Black Andrews, a former town selectman and the 2018 York Citizen of the Year, to give her a heads up about the controversy.
And it's just pure instant emotion and pain for her, and I'm sure for the whole family.
Mary told Burns she would tell her son to take down the flag.
This is not a racist, white supremacist symbol, and I'm angry that it's being portrayed that way.
In the issue that was brought forward is some people do see that flag as discriminatory or racist. And the concern was, how do you honor the fallen officer and his memory, and how do you not put out that type of message?
In 2017, during the violent Charlottesville protests, the thin blue line American flag was carried by white supremacists. Members of the York Diversity Forum say they never asked for the flag to be taken down, but also emphasize that symbols like this flag mean different things to different people.
They bring different feelings and different reactions, and that's a flag that does both those things.
In some respects, the flag had been used by people who are racist.
Jack Johnson, who has lived in York for 35 years, says the entire situation is disappointing.
Anything today in this world that you don't agree with, what's the first thing you say? It's racist.
Don't our feelings matter as to why we actually put that up?
Steph and Charlie Black say they will continue to fly their thin blue line American flag with pride for all police officers and their families.
This is what we do, and we're not going to let it be taken away from us.
In York, Shannon Moss, News Center, Maine.
Yorktown manager Steve Burns says this is a situation that has spun out of control. He says he's been receiving a lot of complaints from people, and he hopes residents in town can work together to find a solution that will make everyone happy.
All right, thanks, Shannon. And here's a chance for you to weigh in on this issue.
Head to our website or our mobile app to take our pulse poll. The question, do you think the thin blue line American flag has racial overtones?
You can vote now, and we will have the results later on in this newscast.
Hey, Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.